Thomas works as a chef in a restaurant. The table below shows the hours he worked one weekend. His basic pay is €19 per hour. So we see his hours for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here. So he worked 7, 8, and 6 hours. So A part one is how much money in total did Thomas earn for working on Friday and Saturday? Okay, so we're looking at his pay over those 2 days. So first, let's find how many hours did he work on Friday and Saturday. So to get that, we'll have to do 7 plus 8, which will give us 15 hours worked on Friday and Saturday. And to get his pay for Friday and Saturday, because that's what we're looking for, how much he earned, we'll have to multiply those hours by 19. So 15 by 19. And if we check that, that will give us an answer of €285. So with stuff like this, it helps to think of simpler examples. So if you are being paid €10 an hour and you worked for 5 hours, you would get €50. So you do 5 by 10. The same way here, you do 15 by 19 and you get €285 for Friday and Saturday. Okay, so Thomas is paid 50% extra for working on Sunday. How much did he earn for working on Sunday? So first, let's see how much he would earn working on Sunday normally. So in order to do that, we'll have to do 6 by 19, similar to how we did above. And let's see what will that give us. So 6 by 19, that will be €114. So 114 normally. But remember, he makes €50 extra for working on Sunday. So how can we find that? So first, we want to find 50% of 114. So we're going to do 114. You might know already that 50% is a half or 0.5. And that'll make your life a little bit easier. You'll be able to get that quicker. But if you don't, you can get any percentage of a number just by multiplying by that number. So 50 over 100. And that's the same as multiplying by a half. So 114 times 50 over 100. That will give us 50%, which is €57 in this case. Remember that this is extra, so we're going to have to add this on. So €114 plus the €57. So 114 plus 57 is €171. That will be how much he earned working on Sunday. If you're really confident, you could do something like this: 114 multiplied by 150 over 100. And what you're doing here is you're multiplying by what he already got paid and adding the 50 on top of that. So you're multiplying by 150. So you're multiplying by 1.5, which will give you 171 straight away. If this doesn't make sense and the other method makes sense for you, then stick to that one. But if you're really confident, you want to speed up the way you solve these exam papers, this would be a good way to do it. Okay, then for part B. Thomas's gross income was 1,900 last month. He pays tax at a rate of 20%. His monthly tax credit is €312.50. So we have to work out Thomas's net income for the month. First, let's just work out the tax that he paid. So his income was 1,900. Same way as before. To get 20% of that, you want to multiply by 20 over 100 is equal to, so 1900 by, that will give us €380. So €380 is how much he is going to have to pay in tax. Okay, so that's his tax. Now, think of tax credits as like a voucher for tax. So it's come to the end of the month, you have to pay your taxes, but tax credits are your voucher. That's how much you're getting off the tax. So it'd be like going to the shop buying a t-shirt for €10, but you already have a €5 voucher. So you have to pay less. That's what we do here. So we're going to make the tax smaller by €312.50. So let's make it smaller by that. So we'll do 380 minus 312.50, and that will give us an answer of €67 and 50 cents. That is how much tax he'll actually have to pay because he used his tax credit as a voucher. So now to work out Thomas's net income for the month, all we have to do is do 1,900 minus 67.50. So you can see that normally he pays a lot of tax, but thankfully because his monthly tax credit is that high, he actually will only have to pay €67 and 50 cents in tax. So his net income for the month will be 1,832 and 50 cents. Okay, then let's look down to part C here. Thomas puts 2,500 into his special savings account. This account offers interest at a rate of 3.2% per year for 2 years, compounded annually. Thomas does not put any money in or take any money out of the account over 2 years. How much interest will Thomas earn in the first year? Okay, so the first question is pretty straightforward. We have to take the amount of money that we have in the account, take the interest as a percentage, and that will be our answer. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to find 3.2% of 2,500. So in order to do that, we'll multiply it by 3.2 over 100. That will be our interest in the first year. So 2,500 by 3.2 over 100, and that will be €80. So this is sort of what bank accounts are used for. So just the money by sitting in your bank account, it has grown by €80 because the bank account gave you an interest rate of 3.2%. Okay, now let's look at the part 2. So you have to work out the total amount in the account after the 2 years. So what we'll have to do here is use something called the compound interest formula. So I'll write it out here. So F is equal to P by 1 plus I to the power of T. So that's our formula. Now, what you might think is, okay, 2,500, then we'll add 80 one year and we'll add 80 another year. Question done. But that's actually not what happens. So what we have to think about is that that €80 will now also be in the bank account. It will also count into the 3.2% that we're adding on. So this is what's called the snowball effect. So if you're rolling a snowball at the start, it's getting bigger really slowly. Once you have a big snowball, it's getting a lot of material. That's how these bank accounts work. So the money's growing and then growing on top of itself, and so on and so on. That's why we have to use the formula, and we can't just add 80 two times. So we're just going to fill it in. Final value is what we're looking for. Principal is 2,500. Then 1 is going to be 1 plus interest. Now, interest we have to put in as a decimal, which will be 0.032 in this case. The power of t, that will be the 2. That's our time. So we have to be careful whether we're compounding annually or compounding monthly. If we're compounding monthly, there are 24 months in 2 years, so we'll have to put the 24, but because it's annually, we'll just put the 2 here. Now let's put that into a calculator. So 2,500 by 1 plus 0.032 to the power of 2. And that will give us an answer here, once we do that calculation, of 2,662.56.